Hey y'all, how's it going? So I wanted to share some information that I just kind of stumbled and pieced together. So I know that there's been a lot of talk about the solar eclipse that's coming up on April 8th and all the predictions that are being made about this solar eclipse and fears that have been kind of thrown out there of like what to expect, what the anticipations are, blah, blah, blah. I want to talk to you a little bit about that in terms of like human design and the things that are being activated and the messages that I have heard and that I have received and the connections and connecting the dots that I've made on my own journey. Okay. So in the gene keys, there are each gene key, there's 64 of them. There is a zodiac sign that's associated with those gene keys. Okay. And in particular, what's being activated on that day of the 8th, when we have the solar eclipse, is gene key 51. It's in the zodiac sign of Aries. Okay. And this is Aries season. The solar eclipse is in the sign of Aries. There's a new moon that particular day too. I believe it's in Aries also. So, and then also our collective nodes, the North Node is in Aries. Okay. Now, Gate 51 is in the heart and ego center of human design. What body parts rule that center is the thymus gland. Okay. The thymus gland is part of the heart chakra, and it controls Christ consciousness, our connection to source. Okay. Our pure essence, love of humanity, love of source, Christ consciousness energy. It tells it creates T cells, which is what helps us fight off disease and infections and things like that. So it also centers around like your autoimmune system and how you're able to fight off diseases, and also like people who struggle with that center being open, or that chakra being open, may struggle with autoimmune disorders and stuff. Okay, so if you don't know anything about the thymus gland, it is just here, just below the collarbone, and it's open from the time that you're born up to about 12 years of age, I think, and then it starts to close over time of your life. And so a way that you can activate this, open it up, because it does become challenging to open back up as you get older, and I think at a certain age, around the age of 50, you can't open it again. But you can tap on this area, and you can massage it, and you can do meditations and focus your attention to that chakra to open it and activate it. But what it does is it creates those T cells, and then it's connected to the pineal gland, which is at the top of the head. It tells the pineal gland to create, the hormones that our bodies need to regulate ourselves throughout. Well, up at the pineal gland is connected to where the vagus nerve is, the spinal cord. So it connects down through the spinal cord, which is what the vagus nerve also is. And so it controls all the parts of our bodies. Okay. So what this gene key is talking about is the shadow. There's always three parts of a gene key. Okay. There's the shadow, there's the gift, and there's the CD. And 51 is about shock. And people who have this gate activated will do shocking things in their life that will shock other people. And shock in terms can be like something that's out of the norm for them, that may be abrupt and sudden and a shift of directions or whatever, because it's Aries energy. Aries is the go-getters, the starters of the zodiac. They're the starters of everything. They initiate things. So 51 is the initiative to initiate. And the shadow of it is agitation. And it's the portal of fears. It's about not wanting to face your fears, which is the very thing that everybody's been talking about in terms of in the spiritual community about, the separation of earth, and some of us ascending to higher levels and some not, and whatever. And to simple layman's terms for me, this is more about people that don't want to do the work, don't want to face their fears, not being able to have that shock energy in them to initiate them into a new direction, which is where evolution wants to go in. Okay. Or evolution in terms of like humanity evolving into something new. So the gift of this, the repressive nature is cowardness, and the reactive nature is hostility. And so And then you look at the gift is initiative, taking action, starting something new. And then the city is the awakening. Now, I've been listening to this person who channels this love energy messages from an entity named Pele, who is also affiliated with Jesus, the energy of Jesus. And essentially, this is where this energy of love, this love energy coming in, is what Jesus brought into the world over 2,000 years ago, during the age of Pisces, to awaken us to something different, something new. And this is also what is also going to be coming back through and coming back in again through this entity Pele within this century. And so there's a potential of this solar eclipse energy coming in on the 8th because of all the things that are stacking up to align to the shocking energy, the shocking gate, this 51, the Aries energy, all the things I mentioned before, that there could be a massive, abrupt shock wave that hits us internally. I don't foresee it being anything so much on an external basis as it is on an internal basis for us individually. This shock wave of love energy coming in, activating that heart center, that thymus center, and really opening us up to a new way of moving, a new way of being, initiating us into something new, us wanting to do something new. And that can be shocking for people around us. Maybe it's a job shift. Maybe it's a walking away from relationships. Maybe it's being a Christian and then choosing not to be a part of the church anymore. I don't know. It could be anything. It's whatever it is to the individual. And not everybody will experience this. And I feel like you'll start to see, because there is going to be such a big split with that, of people who choose to do things differently and then people who choose to stay in the way that they've always done things, that what's going to present itself is that reactive and repressive nature of cowardly and hostility. And so you may, because you're choosing to see things differently and because it's accessing a part of your subconscious that's been asleep, and so it's waking it back up, because the Gene Key 51 is essentially the vehicle that we come into this life with. And for a lot of people, if you don't know human design, you have a design side and you have the personality side. The design side is the side that is the vehicle that we come into this life with. It's actually essentially dropped into us, this part of our DNA, this structure, prior to us physically being born. So anyway, I think that's the separation that we're going to see, is that people are going to be shocked at actions and steps that some of us are taking versus that are going to be in alignment to what we truly want to do, what we love, what we aren't going to hold ourselves back from anymore. And that's going to be a big shock to the system in general, like governmental systems, the hierarchical systems that I've done videos about before, that are going to step away from this structure of what we know. And the people who are still choosing to stay in that old structure are going to struggle and fight against and think. I mean, we've already kind of been seeing that, the last 4 years since 2020, and in some pockets of the world longer than that. But I think it's going to be on a very grander, is that the right word? Grander scale. It's the best way I can describe it. I hope this is making sense. Some of you might think I'm crazy. I'm just sharing what I'm getting and what I've pieced together from what I've heard from other people, and how cool. I mean, it's really cool. It's really cool to see it unfold. So I'm interested to see what comes on April 8th. And let me know what you think.